So what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the other know? Oh, forget it. Soren, Louis, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
It's the podcast. It's Quick Question with Soren and Daniel. I'm Daniel, talking with Soren. Soren, my buddy, how's it going?
Oh man, so hot. It's going so hot. Yeah.
That's really, really good. Future dad to present and past dad. I gotta get into it right away.
Okay, let's do an Ebenezer Scrooge.
Sure. This kid is not born, and it is humiliating us already.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know what to do about it. We had like our big halfway important ultrasound scan thing where they're looking for a lot of stuff, and you just get a lot of time looking at the computer pictures of your baby, and it's all very, very precious and moving. And it's like, this is the feet, and we're counting toes, and like got the hand on the head in a very thoughtful pose, and like here's the spine, which is like crazy because so much of the stuff is blobs, and then the spine is like, and here's a whole fucking skeleton, pointy, sharp, hard dinosaur bone, as Shay was calling it. And it's like, it's so crystal clear, the spine of a person growing inside. But we're seeing all that. We're seeing the spine, and we're seeing like, here's like this is some blood and stuff pumping through. We could see all that stuff going on. Here's a heartbeat. Our wonderful baby, who kicks like crazy at night and is having a fun time dancing and listens to our music in the morning, was not showing its face on this ultrasound. Was just tucking the face away. And we were having fun. We're just like, oh yeah, this is very shy
camera
baby.
shy, yeah.
Camera shy baby. And we were killing time with the ultrasound tech, and we're like, yeah, our interestingly enough, our dog does this too. Our dog Jackson, when you take out a camera to take his picture, he like turns his head, just stops doing whatever he's doing, stops being cute, and just becomes a pain in the ass. And we're like, maybe the baby got it from the dog. We're all joking. We're all laughing. We're having a good time. Time continues to pass, and the ultrasound tech is like wobbling Shay's belly a little bit and like bouncing the ultrasound wand on it, and just like
tapping the glass.
Just trying to do anything to get this baby to move.
Hey, you!
And then like the tech would take a break and like, let's here's the foot again, here's the arm again. Just like we can't move on until the face is shown, because they are testing for like does the baby have a face and all the things in the right places, kind of thing. And also we want to see the face.
doctors in the wing is doing this, like stretch it out.
Yeah.
We need to buy time.
We reach a turning point where we are no longer all charmed by the fact that the baby is not showing its face. Now Shay and I are like a little bored. We're kind of over the miracle of the spine that we saw. We saw the toes and we wept. But now it's getting close to lunchtime, and this is not the amount of time that we've budgeted to be here. And so we're bored. And the tech is like very clearly unhappy with us, because she was very chatty in the beginning. And now she is just like dicking around. It's you can't do anything until you get a phone call. And so you're just sitting there with a stranger waiting for your phone to ring, and it's not ringing. And you don't like the stranger because you didn't pick the stranger. That's the vibe that we're getting from this ultrasound tech, who is, shaking again and prodding and poking again. And
is she mad at Shay for hiding the baby?
She seems pretty mad at both of us. It's definitely there was no not even a tiny bit of this happens all the time.
Yeah.
Babies are like this. We're prepared for this. It was just like, well, I need to see the face. And then like pointedly looking at the two of us. And we're now like, oh,
We're not in control.
We're so sorry. No, we're like we're cowards. So we're both like, yeah, we're sorry. The baby never does this. We're really, really sorry. But I don't know if there was something we should have done differently. And then the tech, very surprisingly, puts the wand down, and the tech says, "I'm gonna go outside for a minute. So you know,
she wants to go cool off.
Do whatever you.
She's
do
so
whatever
angry.
You want to
she
do.
Needs to go have a cigarette.
She's angry,
and,
and then is like, sort this out. By the time I get back, that was the vibe from that. I was like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna give you guys some time, and we don't know how weird it is yet. We're in the present of this moment, and we feel like we're in trouble, and we both hate being in trouble. So as soon as she's gone, Shay gets up and starts lunging. Just starts doing lunges because we're like, we got to get this baby to turn, or the ultrasound tech's not gonna let us leave, or she's gonna give us a demerit. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's gonna go on our permanent record. So Shay's doing
probably. That loosens me up when I don't want to be in front of the camera.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Get the baby singing.
Get the baby still a little bit of rum. Who's that gonna hurt?
She's doing lunges, and I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I don't know." And then I get up to be in the room with her, and I walk towards her. And she goes, "What are you doing?" Like, I don't know. We're both just like. Just standing and like bouncing at each other and shaking both of our bodies until we feel we've done enough of that, and then sit down, and the tech comes back in, scans, and the tech's like, "There's an ear. I guess you're gonna have to come back." And we're like, "Yep, totally. We're so sorry. We'll do that. And next time we'll
have this sorted.
We'll do it."
Yeah. We will talk to. I swear, we will talk to this baby.
Yeah, and
this won't happen again.
When the tech was gone, I can't tell how serious and how jokey I was, speaking into Shay's belly. It's going like, "I'm your father. You gotta start off respecting me. You'll lose it at some point, but like, I need a bit of time to be the top dog. So you gotta just like, please do what we're asking you to do.
While you live under my uterine wall, you will live by my rules."
Very uncooperative baby. Other than possibly not having a face, everything was 10 out of 10. Doctor.
Now,
our interaction with the doctor, who goes over the results with us afterwards, was also, I briefly want to say, insane. The moment will not be felt by you or our audience because I've already told you that everything's fine. But we sit down with the doctor, and he says, "Now there are two things that we look at when we're doing these scans: the health of the baby and the health of the mother. And we're going to start with the health of the baby because that's the easy part." And Shay and I are frozen at that's the easy part. And he's going through, it's like, this is healthy, all of this is good, 52nd percentile, everything's on track. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. It's great. And then we're like, okay, and now, so the law of
the not easy part.
Words is that there's a hard part. So what's the hard part? It's like, "Oh, the mother's fine too." We're like, this fucking guy. I don't think he was trying to do a joke. I think he's just a bad speaker to patients.
Yeah, well, didn't understand that what follows that. Like, he's like, let's make this as easy as possible. The baby's healthy.
Yeah.
So that's easy, right? Okay, now the mother, also healthy.
Yeah.
Well,
this is harder to say, but to be clear, just because mother's like a harder word than baby,
it's bigger.
Everything is fine. It's just like a struggle.
A combination, when you get two words together, they make a different sound. That's confusing. I had a similar experience we had somebody who had zero bedside manner and was telling us what at the time was very hard news when we were having Ronan, which was about his NT cord, like not being the right length, and how that was indicative of like three things. And they were all pretty bad. There's like heart failure. There's like another thing where like they basically things where they don't make it past maybe 6 months. And she's like telling us this as she's just like as she's like scanning around looking at other stuff. So she's like, yeah, the NT cable is a little small. So I'm going to set you up with a genetics counselor, and you can talk about what you want to do as your next move. There's hands. There's hands. And we were like, what is going on? We had to like even meet with a genetics counselor about it and talk about whether we wanted to terminate the pregnancy and everything. And then he's like, we're going to like, we wanted more tests. And then we wanted the next test was like a way more invasive one where a needle goes up through the vagina into the embryo and into like the into the embryonic fluid and like and pull some out, and you get a better indication of how well the baby's doing. Before we do this, that another doctor is like, well, I just want to do an ultrasound real quick to see kind of where the baby is so that we know where we're poking him, basically. And as he's doing, he's like, this NT cord looks fine. And we're like, what the fuck? And so like we had waited basically a week of us thinking, oh, all these hopes and dreams that we'd had of this child are now like, is this something we should give up on? Should I start divorcing myself emotionally from this?
Right. Your life is about to be very new and different than the one that you were planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it ended up being totally fine. But it's these people who obviously, they're doing this for a living. So it is not magical for them each time. They really can put on a good show and be like, isn't that wonderful? You hear the heartbeat. You hear that, like, it basically sounds like a machine gun when they're babies. It's like, but they're like, they try to really get in it with you in the spirit of it. But I imagine it's the same as people who work as, like, in Santa's workshop, trying to, like, be really excited about Christmas. It's like, I do this every fucking day, man. Just get on Santa's lap and let's move on.
Do you go back to the first doctor who got everything wrong and kill him? Do you beat him up? Okay.
So the answer to this riddle is that it was a woman.
So the baby was the doctor's?
This woman, no, it was, we were so angry that we were like, we would like to never see that doctor again. Like asking other people, like, make sure that we never even interact with her. Like, we don't want to be crossing her in the hallways or anything like that because we were so angry about it. And like, it wasn't just that she got it wrong. I understand that mistakes like that can happen. It's like her attitude surrounding it was like, what the fuck? Like giving us this terrible information and being like, I'm going to set you up with a genetics, essentially saying, I'm going to set you up with a genetics counselor so you can decide if you want to terminate this pregnancy. As she's like, and now look, there's a feet. There's feet.
Yeah.
See him now? Hey, everybody, I want to encourage you to do something really quickly. Just check in with your body. How are you feeling right now? I would guess the answer is not super good. I mean, maybe you're okay on a lot of fronts, but you kind of got a little bit of a headache. You're feeling lethargic. Your stomach doesn't feel that great. You just don't have a lot of energy. A lot of that is just hydration. If you would just drink the amount of fluids you're supposed to drink, you'd feel so much better. Well, now there's something to help you. I've been in my hydration era, and I'm not looking back. When I use Drip Drop, I feel sharper, calmer, and honestly, I'm just more handsome. Turns out hydration is a beauty hack, and that's why I use Drip Drop. It's a science-backed hydration that actually helps me feel and look my best without the sugar crash. Thanks to Drip Drop for supporting our show. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code QQ for 20% off your first order. Drip Drop is doctor-developed, proven fast hydration that helps your body and mind work better. It uses this perfect combination of electrolytes and glucose for rapid absorption, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading sports drinks. So you feel the results fast. You get more focus, more energy, an improved mood, and I'm going to say, you look better. I think maybe it's in the eyes. You don't feel as bad, and so you look better. Drip Drop's science-backed formula is trusted by firefighters, medical professionals, and over 90% of top college and pro teams because it's engineered to rehydrate you faster and more effectively than water alone. There are over 16 original flavors and 8 zero-sugar options, and it fits seamlessly into your routine, morning, post-workout, or in your midday slump. Right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com and use promo code QQ. That's dripdrop.com, promo code QQ for 20% off. Stock up now, dripdrop.com, and use promo code QQ now. So, I have some questions for you. You did this ultrasound. Did you get to see the 3D model of your baby?
No.
Did you ask for it, or were they like,
I mean, at
they
that
just don't
point,
do it?
they didn't bring it up. I I felt sheepish asking for a picture after we ruined the ultrasound tech's day
Yeah.
by with our camera shy baby, and this information isn't not relevant. It was the ultrasound tech's birthday, so I'm sure
I'm gonna come back
when
to that. I
she's
wanna come
outside
back to
having
that
her
because it's
smoke
important.
break, she's like, "Fucking, of course it had to be today." Throws off my whole day.
So they do a 3D version, like a 3D rendering, basically, of your baby. It's not a full scale one. You can't see it like a 3D model or anything.
Yeah.
But they get in there and they got some sort of. It's like their map view, like street view. They
Right.
could just push a button and all of a sudden you see like whatever they're over with the ultrasound. You get now like a topography of it. You get like the real lay of the land with what your baby looks like. Now
It is an additional cost, right? It's not
no,
like
they threw it on for us.
It's
They're
not
just
what
like,
I heard.
oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, they were just like, now you want to see your baby really? I'm going to encourage you to not do it.
Okay.
So the extra cost is not worth it. Here's why. At this stage, even if let's say your baby's face is out there, that's where they really want to, that's the money shot. And they want to do that with like their new technology. The problem is that a baby at that age, at
The
that stage,
skin is translucent, right?
well, you wouldn't see that either. Like
Okay.
you're not really getting that, but you are getting, the baby has no fat on its face. And you don't realize how important fat is to making a human face look like not a skull.
Yeah.
And so you basically get this image of what is a baby skeleton. You
Right.
have, just like the spine, like you see the face and it's like, your first instinct is to go, oh God.
Oh no.
Because the nose is like missing basically. And you've got these hollow eyes and like cheekbones, but it's like you are looking at essentially Skeletor in there.
Yeah.
And it's not pleasant. It's not fun to think about. So it's good that you didn't do it.
Yeah, we're good to pass on that. I think maybe it's possible they didn't offer it because we are going to be surprised to find out the baby's sex on day of, and I don't know if the 3D makes it like unavoidable because as of now when we're doing like the ultrasound pictures and they're doing feet and hands, the text says look away while I check out some other stuff, and then you can look back.
Yeah.
Because they're going to put something on the screen and they don't want us to be able to know. But I think with a 3D thing, it's pretty, they're not going to put like a sensor bar or anything.
Right. Yeah. And it's going to be a big dick. Like it's going to be big.
If it's a dick, it's going to, yeah. I mean,
and if it's a vagina, it's going to be a big
It's going to be so huge. We did have a couple of appointments back. A different tech was doing the scan and wanted to make sure the relevant part of the screen was covered while she was doing the scan. And she picked up a manila folder and covered like the entire bottom half of the screen. And we're always like, it does not get old to see pictures of your alien baby skeleton freak inside. We're always very present and very just like, there it is again. There's the heart again. All of it's very exciting. It's very bonding. But as I'm looking at this, also in the back of my head, when the nurse is covering half the screen with a folder, I'm like, that's got to be some hog. A whole half the screen. Damn.
Manila folders are bigger than just a normal 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. She needed something bigger.
Yeah.
I think it's actually where they type it in, most likely. Because there's all those words on the screen, too.
Yeah.
Where like they're taking pictures and then they're like saying certain things. I think that she's basically shielding you from seeing male or female written down. Yeah, so I said I want to talk about this earlier, but the fact that it was the technician's birthday, I think is like it's funny and silly now that you ruined her day. This becomes a legitimate problem on the day of the birth. Because again, doctors are they're people and they have lives outside of the hospital. And if you go into a hospital on a Friday with your baby, there's like a way higher chance that they will induce you and try to get through this delivery as fast as possible because they've got a heart out. They've got like things that they're planning on doing and for the weekend, or like if you get the end of a technician or the end of a doctor's shift or whatever, like sometimes you get induced when you don't need to be induced, but it's because it streamlines their work, like their office day.
Right.
And so there's all these things that you wouldn't necessarily want and aren't necessarily good for your child, but you have to have some advocate on your side who's seen this kind of thing before, who can be like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're going to let this happen the way that it's supposed to happen.
It's important to remember that doctors are smarter than me and more dedicated to what they're doing just by sheer fact of how much schooling they went through and how expensive it was and how much you need to stay up to date to continue practicing, and you're always learning and always testing. That makes them different from me, and they have to take an oath.
I've never done that.
Which is very different from me and most jobs. There are so few oaths in our lives, and that's a different thing. But the oath and the training doesn't suddenly make them not a human being. It is still, at the end of the day, like a fucking guy or a fucking girl who, gets tired and gets diarrhea and wants to hit a quota of babies. I don't know how it works, but
they want to leave. They want to go. It's like, let's wrap this up. It's like turning over tables on a Friday night.
Yeah.
When you're a waiter, you're like, it's really been a pleasure. Like, I want to continue to share this night with you, that you're having a really magical time with one another in, but you gotta fucking go. Because I gotta turn this table over.
I understand it's your anniversary, but it's also my Friday. And bars are closing, and I'm so miserable.
Yeah. So it does become like a real. If you'll go to classes, I'm sure, because you guys are over prepared. But you'll in those classes, like, they warn you about that kind of thing, where they're like, you have to be advocating on your own behalf there in the hospital, or you have a doula or whatever it is, because these are humans. These are people who are like they're gonna try and get through this if they need, like, wherever their heart out is. They're like, I'm gonna meet that. Yeah. So we're gonna see what it takes to get there. We're gonna do a C-section. Or we're gonna do, like, the baby's not progressing, and you're like, their first instinct is like, well, let's get the baby out, and you have to be like, that wasn't our plan. Let's give it a little bit of time. And like, it's really crazy. It's crazy how rough it is for you.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel, aside from your baby, which I'm very happy for you. I'm happy that you got to see the spine. I'm happy
it's so fun.
Yeah, I'm happy that everything is progressing exactly as it should. And 50th percentile is exactly where you want to be.
We had to do some searching on that too, because they're going through it in their 52nd percentile, and they say that's good, and I have to trust them that they say it's good. But we're also like,
not 100,
aren't we wanting 100? Like, what do we?
No.
What's the deal here?
Absolutely not. That's you get harder to squeeze out at 100.
Yeah,
you get the baby has to come out a different way.
We are
through the mouth.
When they say 50 and 52nd percentile. What we're aiming for is the middle. We want average sized, is what we learned in the car, in the parking lot, Googling.
Yeah, and also because on each end you stand more risk of other things, other complications. So like you want to be right there at 0, right there in the middle of like neither negative nor positive. But that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I want to talk about something completely different.
Okay.
Now, this is going to sound like something we don't ordinarily talk about at first, but that's not the direction I really want to go. Are you familiar with the Epstein emails that have been released?
Here's an interesting thing about me as someone who works in a late night political comedy space. I have just decided to sit this one out. It doesn't seem super actionable. I'm in part a little bit still jaded politically lately, and I guess societally, that like the only way for things to change meaningfully on a very grand level is for shit to start mattering again, because shit doesn't matter currently. And so this Epstein thing, I just can't. I see people getting excited and thinking about this is going to be the thing, and that the cynic in me is just like, Yeah, but for this to like do anything, shit would have to matter, and shit doesn't matter right now. And I don't know if shit's ever gonna matter again. But this falls
Okay.
under the category of shit, and I'm I I'm not going to allow myself any kind of joy of pouring through the emails and like seeing if it's going to have any consequences because I've
Okay.
seen this happen before.
Yes. Yes, you have. Now, I'll give you like broad strokes as far as like tangibly why it matters at all is other Trump is mentioned an awful lot in there. There's a lot of stuff in there where he's like, I could easily take him down. It's more
Yeah.
indictments of other people because he's like emailing the editor of the New York Times and stuff, being like, "Do you want this information?" And the editor being like, "Nah, like let's pass on it." And then the other stuff you have is Ghislaine Maxwell had said a lot of things in her most recent testimony that are now negated by the stuff that are in the emails. So she's like, it's clear that she was lying.
Sure. But
okay.
I mean, but didn't we know she was lying?
Yes, but I
and
mean, now there's
didn't-
proof that she was lying.
Okay.
And also during all of this, you've got stuff like Trump pulling people into the Situation Room and being like, don't fucking vote to release these files. Okay, so none of that is what I want to talk about. I want to
Great.
talk about, these are all emails from Epstein or two other people. Horrible misspellings, terrible. Like it's clear like how fucking bad this guy is. He's basically borderline illiterate.
Mhm.
And it's sort of funny like how illiterate he is. But he does have he is sending himself emails occasionally. And these are what I want to like drill down on is that he is got shorthand, obviously, for his own notes, the same way you would.
Sure.
And his notes look very similar to something you might like make notes of for yourself, like in your notes app or whatever, where you're like, I want to remember this.
Me, Daniel, or me,
Yes.
the dumb
I would hope
humbug?
so.
Oh boy.
I mean me, like even me, like
Okay.
I want to parse some of his notes with you to himself and get like a sense of like what
This
he
will
might
fun.
be saying. Yeah. Okay. He has one very long email that's bullet pointed. It's got, well, he gives up after a while on bullet points, but he's got like 33 points that he's like wants to get through to himself. And this feels like it's just like a mental download of like all the things he's been thinking about lately. This is number one. Beards and long hair are meant to catch and hold smells? Question mark.
Okay.
He's asked himself, he starts getting philosophical too. I love this one. He says, writing is unnatural, asymmetric, speed, not good for everyone, linear, slow, rule-based. And never has that been clearer than reading his emails that he does not like writing
Sure.
in any capacity. And I love that he's like coming up with reasons for the type of person that he is. But if it's not just like he's a numbers guy either, because later he says something that is very close to my heart. Number 31 on his list is numbers, not good for many things.
That's
and
true.
I was like, yeah, yeah, I also think that.
Yeah.
I
Does he
agree
mean
with the pedophile.
does he does he mean that it's like ruining baseball, or what is his problem with numbers?
Well, it's not clear.
Oh.
I think that he doesn't like writing and he doesn't like numbers. So there's not a lot left, but he is,
Okay.
I think, in love with his own thoughts. And maybe that's where like he's trying to justify is that I'm thinking so many good things. I'm going a million miles an hour. And you know what? Words are just slowing me down. And so are numbers.
Yeah.
They're keeping me back. They're all these rules.
It's very, and I'm not like meaningfully trying to draw a comparison, but it's very Elon Musk. It's incredibly like the my brain works in an unconventional way.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but he takes it an extra step, which is my brain works in an unconventional and in fact superior way.
Yeah.
And in fact, other ways of thinking are bad for culture and bad for society.
Yeah. So now I'm glad you brought up brain, Dan, because number 7 on here is skin as part of the brain, question mark. And then he makes this great connection. Well, he spells it wrong, but he says membrane. That which I think as soon as you write, you realize is a different brain.
Yeah.
You realize it means a different thing than the brain in your head.
Spelled differently.
And he's written it as meme brain, which I think is nice. I think that's like
Sure.
more accurate. But like skin is part of the brain, and then he's like membrane.
Brain.
And then he really falls in love with that idea of the membrane and like how the skin of the brain is super important. He wants to know if thought and like how much intellect is dependent on surface area.
Yeah.
and then it's like takes this weird tangent that I don't totally understand, and I want your input on it. Hold please for a second while I find it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He says intelligence on the surface needs larger surface area, hence replication. And so like I'm
Intelligence
kind of
on the surface
yeah,
needs
larger surface area
surface area.
for more intelligence. I get that. Hence replication. Yeah. That word really threw me.
Yeah.
And then I started looking at this from a different angle, which was these feel very much like notes from Victor Frankenstein to himself.
Yeah.
As he's like deciding, well, could I make another person? Like, what would
Yeah.
it take? And when you read his notes with that in mind, it's like, oh, yeah, he's building a person. He's building a
Yeah.
person for sure. Because he says things like that intelligence on the surface thing. He says, does the eye transmit information? Music is horizontal and vertical information. Melody, prognosis, harmony, maybe. All ammules. He means animals, I think. Can it be looked at to re-engineer the brain? Harmony, FFT. Symphonic learning. Like he's deciding what a brain is capable of.
Uh-huh.
And
And
then
if you could teach a brain via music?
Yeah, I guess so. But he creates like a sense calculation matrix, which feels very much like you go through it and you're like, oh, this is trying to decide if somebody is alive. Like he talks about smell, transmit, receive, volatile, amplitude, disgust. Is location a sense? Near food? Question mark. Direction to food?
Can I mean, broken clock and all that. That's a good thought. Is location
Yeah?
a sense? Proximity to food. That's I mean, I think we could probably knock it down pretty easily.
Yeah.
But he sounds like a dummy. I'm a dummy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I would grant that conversation starter at a dinner table for sure.
That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for in him like where do we connect? Like where are our streams cross here?
And like
I've seen-
immediately as someone whose my notes are very disjointed and I try to keep them organized, but I'm also prone to jumping to the closest possible writable surface. And so I will have things on my notes app where it was like incline bench press, 3 sets, 12 to 15, 45 pounds, tough at this weight, ancho chili pepper almost out. The challenges of raising a child who is not cynical, but also won't be destroyed by this world.
Yeah.
Pull-ups, max out at 10. Just like everything that's
Everything goes
happened
together.
that week.
It's the thought process on some of these where I'm like, I'm with you here. Like I get how we got here. It's not a good thought. It's a very this is somebody who has never, I would say, thought things through.
Yeah.
It's somebody who has a lot of thoughts, but follows none of them because he doesn't see any value in that. He's just having the thoughts and thinking, I'm an idea man.
My question, and you might not know this, apart from the main thing I know that he liked to spend his time doing, what was
Where do you make his?
what is
okay.
he? I know financier,
Yeah.
a
Yes.
vague nothing job, something real estate, New York, a vague nothing job. I mean, like we're playing the hits of Robert Durst, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein as real estate, and I guess Robert Moses as real estate moguls. Maybe he's an architecture guy. So like broadly speaking, a field that is 100% monsters.
Mhm.
I know that he was very rich, but bits and pieces that I hear about him on like the New York Times, the daily podcast, they talk about how untrustworthy a lot of what he writes in his emails are, because they're like, he is famously a liar and a manipulator. And I'm like, but that sounds like an unpleasant person to spend time with. He's not. What is he? Who is this real estate finance? Like, is it just you let the weed dealer in your house because he's the only one with
Yes.
weed? Is that truly it?
Yes.
That's
Yes.
it.
And it's
But-
because, you forced I think but that's not just true of like illicit crimes. That's true of power. I think that look at somebody like Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio, they just seem like intolerable human beings to spend any bit of time with.
Yeah.
And the reason that you can get to that point where you are surrounded by people who are willing to spend time with you is that you have some sort of resource that is very rare and they want it. And so like you can work your way up because you have this power.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to be close to that power. Donald Trump is like a great example. Like you want to be close to this power, and you're at every single turn, you're deciding what you're willing to deal with from that person to get it. And they, maybe subconsciously, are learning the same lesson. What can I get away with? And people still have people around me. Like people still want to be around me enough that I'm still a functional psychopath, you know?
But at some point there had to be like initial, oh, you have to meet this Jeffrey Epstein guy.
Yeah.
But if you can't lead with the island and the plane and the sex trafficking and
No.
the crimes, you got to work your way into that. And what is the dipping your toe? You got to meet this Jeffrey Epstein guy. He's dumb. He's a dumb asshole and a piece of shit. You really got to talk to him.
It was just money, I think.
It's just money. It's just
Yeah,
go in a
it's-
room with
you have-
here's a room full of rich people.
Yeah, they're finally people that are like me is like the
Yeah.
idea is that this is the club I belong in, and if that's enough. In the same way where like somebody approaches you on the street and they're like, "Hey, I'm a writer too." Your first instinct is like, "I have to get away. I have to move
Yeah.
away from this situation." Until they're like, "For television," and then you're like, "Oh, somebody who actually is writing and doing something similar to me and might have similar shared experiences with me, and I can actually connect with them on some level." Like. There's money is just like a threshold, I think, for them. And if you're above that threshold, anybody else who has that money is like, okay, well, then we can be friends. And I think that a lot of times it probably, after a certain point, like once he was really well established as a pedophile with an island and everything, that's how he was being introduced to people.
Sure.
It was like somebody else was doing that back channeling and they're like, hey, I can sense that you're into young girls. You should meet my friend. And then you're like, and then that's how he gains his influence and his web of connections.
Man.
I assume.
Sure.
Now, speaking of webs, this is a thought where I was like, man, you were on the right track here, and then it's clear like your brain is broken. You went the wrong way. He says plants. This is number 19. Plants, period. Communication. Surface area, very obsessed with surface area. Similar to humanas, he means humans. What he's talking about here, I think, is that singular neural network that plants share through fungi under the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And based on like large swaths of area, you have plants. When grass gets mowed in one yard, the grass in another yard knows that the grass is, and like that's all really interesting and smart stuff where I'm like, they just discovered this within our lifetime, like how the funguses keep plants connected and also like share resources with one another through these pathways of fungus underneath the ground. For like a tree that's not doing particularly well, like another tree is passing it nutrients. Fascinating stuff. I feel like he's been watching the same documentaries I watch. And then he says the similar to humans, because he can't help but bring it back to himself. Then he goes, his next thought is, do we get plant diseases? Where I'm sure I see like the thought process is so clear to me where I'm like, well, we are aligned, pedophile. And then he gets to that, and I'm like, oh no, you're just I don't know what you are. You're not. You cannot help but bring it back to yourself. But he finds out that there are these neural pathways of plants that they share what is essentially a telepathic connection, or feels like to us because it's all underground. And then he's like, can humans do that? Do humans do that? Oh, fuck. Am I going to get a tree disease?
Right. Certainly, we're in a cold front, so I've been closing my garden because it's time to close the garden anyway. And as I'm going through and like seeing what is salvageable, our basil plants are like covered in these spots that are like clearly rotting it away. And I understand the impulse of looking at the basil plant and going, oh, I hope that never happens to me.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's doing here. Anyway, they're all, the thoughts are very funny. This one is also a train of thought where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
He gets to number 26 and he goes, taste, ? Because now he's decided he wants to think about taste. Oh, taste and smell, by the way, very prominent throughout this thought process, like where he's writing it back to himself, where I think that this is like the undercurrent of this is sexuality, where he's thinking about sex and he's thinking about the visceral nature of sex, and he keeps bringing up like body odor and smell and stuff like that. Like, these are whatever, like the ketamine that you're on, it's not it's not going great.
That was going to be one of my questions.
Process.
Another one of my questions was going to be, in your research, is he like a big drug guy? Because this all seems like big drug guy stuff.
Right. In the emails, no. There's no mention. And this is like, this would be the only indication. But he's got taste, ? And then he's got food, ? And then he's got kissing, ? And so it's all in the same bullet point, taste, food, and kissing. And he's like, these things are related. I know they are. And he's like, does kissing not taste good? Like wondering about his own, I think his own just like corporeal frame and like how other people relate to it. And there's like some real concern that people aren't alluring. He's not alluring to people because he's not food, it seems like. They like food and they don't like bad smells. Why then is everybody having sex?
He's so close to realizing he has nothing to offer anyone. I mean, he was so close. Now he's fucking.
He's much closer. I'm surely. You get all the answers. You get to turn the puzzle upside down and see the answers written down when you're done.
It always it continues to I guess surprise a little, but continues to bring me joy how this idea gets reinforced that fiction has done a much better job creating interesting villain types than are borne out in reality. We have so many legends, and like a Jeffrey Epstein figure in Chinatown or in some other book would be like, there would be a lot said about how this unspeakably evil yet powerful person is disarming and charming in some way. You know, all of the Bond villains are these well-spoken monsters, and the reality just never competes with it. Epstein as a fucking rich, manipulative, lying Gatsby figure is just a drugged out rich asshole who hasn't been told no enough times, who is just some like, it's the fantasy of the evil monsters as being the Bond villains and these suave, debonair, erudite, urbane monsters. And it's just like Jeffrey Epstein and Ted Cruz, these weird hunched monsters who are like, we really are the best of the best.
Well, the fact that what made them monsters in stories is like their priorities are just different. Like they're doing something that they think is good for humanity generally. Like they're taking it to its it's illogical conclusion, but like they were on the right path at some point. And then like in their altruism of whatever they were trying to do, like Thanos, like you're like, oh, you then came up with an actionable plan to deal with what was a legitimate
Right.
problem. It's just your actual plan is too far.
Right. It's Thanos who's like, there's our way of life is not sustainable. We need to wipe out half the population and start over again. And it breaks my heart to do it. And I feel every death, but I feel burdened with this responsibility. And Jeffrey Epstein, real life monster, is like, is it possible that the booby is a hand?
Yeah. What if the boob grabs you back? What if that? And yeah, they're so much worse that like they wouldn't even be you couldn't just sell somebody that kind of villain.
Yeah.
You're like it's so unbelievable that like even the Bond villains who are inherently evil guys are like some of them are doing it for vengeance, where like their wife was killed unfairly or whatever it was. And like they have a plan that is actionable and has it either is creating some sort of justice or it's making the world better in their mind. And these guys not doing that. They don't even they can't even conceive of that. I mean, Musk has some sense of what a movie villain is and is trying to like find his like grasp it like, all right, well, how can I convince everyone that my greed is me trying to make the world better. Me trying to get off to Mars so that I don't have to go to the hell, which is in the middle of the Earth, and I'm scared of that. I have to go live on Mars, and then I will be beyond hell's reach.
Yeah. And what's crucial about Mars is there are no federal regulations. So all the stuff that I want to do now for business, which is the only thing that's real, I can do on Mars.
Anything I want. Oh, I'm going to give away so many horses on Mars. I wanted to take you through it because I started putting it in my notes app and I was like, this looks like all my other notes.
Yeah.
His shorthand is like, this is like the sloppy bullshit shorthand. And it makes it very easy, I think, probably for writers to follow his train of thought till the moment where you're like, oh, and here's where you are a different monster. Here's where you're a different human being.
The thing that I don't understand, and I'm sure this has been brought up a lot too for people who are following more closely, is it seems like he and his other criminals email about their crimes a lot.
Oh boy.
It's as someone who has done crimes, I almost never talk about it into a microphone, and I certainly never write it down to my crime buddies. And I don't do any of the crimes that Epstein has like 100,000% done. It's not like those kind of crimes, but like normal, cool crimes that I have done. You're not even going to catch me emailing someone about cheating on a test in high school.
They are. It seems unfair to call this a cabal because cabal would be like under the surface and like covert and clandestine. And none of this is that. This is just a bunch of people who have always gotten away with everything their entire lives and are like, the things that I get away with must be fine. At first I will be maybe very quiet about it, but at the minute that like I can see that I'm not in any trouble for this, I'm just going to do it out in the open. And this is like the logical progression of all of that is that they're at this point where they're emailing Epstein where they're like, nothing can fucking touch me. So they don't see any reason to be clandestine about it.
I feel like at some point that the first time someone would have made the news over an email hacking scandal with an email getting leaked and made public, I feel like the people in this Epstein ring would have been like, ooh, gotta find another way to talk. I hadn't realized that emails could be seen on other computers than mine.
Yeah, like
we gotta do something else.
Chris D'Elia moment where you realize like, oh, stuff can be saved. Ooh, I didn't realize that. It is also the context of the time in which he's doing a lot of this. A lot of these emails, like the flurry of the emails about where he seems more panicked, is like I was like trying to figure out what was going on, but it's around January of 2018. And so this is like right around the time, I think, when there was an award show where every single person wore black in honor of Me Too in January of 2018. And it was like, I think that was right around like the height of Me Too. And boy, that would be a terrifying time if you are anyone associated with Jeffrey Epstein, and you're probably if you're Jeffrey Epstein, you're fielding a lot of phone calls from people who are being like, delete everything.
Yeah.
We are not friends. Take care of everything. I can't be caught up in this. Like, now I didn't realize we weren't allowed to be raping kids. I now know that.
Yeah. Now that I've seen January 2018, now that I've seen the Golden Globes.
Yeah.
Now
I'm giving it that's a heat check for the time, because that's clearly like, if the Golden Globes has caught on to Me Too, then Me Too is at its like the crest of the wave. And I think that I think there's a lot of people around him getting scared around that time. And so that's when you just have this like flurry of emails with Jeffrey Epstein. Also, I'm not even totally sure, I didn't check in on this, whether these are like just a selected batch, whether they just decide to send some, because these surely are not all of the emails from his files.
Yeah.
I don't know how they were allowed to send these, or like get away with these, or what the circumstances were that these were chosen. But there's more. I
mean, I say this as someone who has not followed this Epstein stuff closely, as I said in the beginning, but Democrats leaked 3 emails earlier this week, and then Republicans leaked 20 to 22,000 in response to that, in retaliation, which is, really cool. It's another to go back to feeling cynical and feeling like nothing, like shit needs to matter if anything's ever going to change again in our lives. Yeah. There's the big scandal, which is all the stuff that we're learning from these emails right now, and a lot of the stuff that we already knew that we now have proof of. That's the big headline thing. And there's also the many smaller but still very important scandals of like what the Times editors knew and what Michael Wolff knew, what these journalists knew and sat on. And that's all very bad. And also just like current politicians just hanging on to these emails and waiting for what seemed like the most opportune time to drop them. And it's just like, we're all just trying to fucking live in this stupid world, and the politicians are hanging on to these, like, they all have them, they all know the whole story already, and they're just like doling them out in politically strategic moments,
right? Which means that you're allowing some I understand that totally. I understand there's like that they don't see us as equals by any means, that we are also people like them. There is the WAD. There's like this general writhing group of people, and then there's like the people who are making the decisions that are on the best behalf. They're on like they know what's best. They know what's best for the general population, and like, well, we got to do this right so that we don't fall into that WAD. So like we got to do it so that we maintain where we are, and that we can stay in this position, but also like they can't handle all this. Like we'll give it to them in small drips. It's gross and weird, and it's from both sides. Let's see if I believe that. Yeah, I do. I believe that it's from both sides. And it's rough that we sit at the bottom of it. Well, this has been a good podcast. Thank you for joining us. I can't imagine this is going to be titled as anything other than Epstein. Maybe how Soren relates to Epstein.
This was my joyful baby ultrasound episode, guys. What the fuck happened? There's going to be Epstein hashtags on it. This sucks.
Yeah, not awesome. Well, if you like this podcast and you want to see a video version of it, you can find that on YouTube. Also, if you're listening, if you want just more Soren and Dan, we do every other week, we do a version of this for Patreon. It's a little bit shorter and a little bit looser than, if you can imagine, than what we just did. And it's fun. It's fun. It's fun for the members. And if you liked our theme song, that's by me, Rex. Big shout out, as always, to our editor, sound engineer, producer, Gabe Harder. And I don't think I need to mention anything else. Goodbye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.